You mentioned compassion fatigue, and I want to talk about that because I think when you have a Buddhist training, the word compassion is a little bit different than the word in the dictionary. And I think it's like, according to my teachers, compassion fatigue is a little bit of a misnomer because really what you would say it is an empathy fatigue. There's actually a bunch of scientific studies on this empathy versus compassion. And they say that empathy itself is exhausting. That's what leads to burnout, is just feeling the feelings of other people around you, but just filling up with them. And it's very common for workers in healthcare, hospice, and so on. The empathy is exhausting. And another thing you talked about, the judgment too, when you start to get mad at people who just could have done something small to save themselves a lot of trouble and to save other people a lot of pain. But compassion is different than empathy. It includes empathy, but empathy is just the first step. You identify with other people's feelings. You try to imagine what it's like to be them and how they're feeling. But then you have this strong wish to help. That's compassion. And it doesn't necessarily mean you are able to help. Right. You just have a strong wish, but that wishing to help, just saying, if I could take away the COVID illness from everyone who has it right now. Of course, that's a meditation. And of course you can't. But it just turns out that thought is so helpful for your mind. It just works. It works right now as I'm thinking of it. It's just, oh yeah, if I could, I would definitely do that. And if I could protect, let's not even say it's through vaccination, but if I could somehow protect everyone from getting this illness, from getting COVID, of course I would. If I could eradicate it from the earth through magic, through just snapping my fingers, of course I would do that. Dr. Rick Hansen talks a lot about this. You want to stick with these good thoughts, whether they're things that really happened or things that you wish would happen. And it doesn't mean they are going to happen. It's not some new age magic like The Secret, that if you just think it, they will. No, things will keep going on. People will be sick. But by thinking that thought, it's so expanding to your heart, and it's the antidote to that compassion fatigue. Because when you have those thoughts, it gives you more energy.
I really like that distinction between empathy and compassion and thinking about fatigue. Maybe the fatigue comes from coming up against our practical material limits. That you can't fix everything and you can't save everything. Yeah. But to keep that spark in your heart, that's still your intention, even if you can't achieve it.
Yeah, and to also be compassionate to yourself, like to realize there are limits. Tara Brach talks a lot about this is where it all starts. That's where actually all this kind of outward verbal violence and negative feelings and thoughts comes from. It's just not loving ourselves sufficiently, accepting ourselves. So I think that's actually a really good sort of, that Thich Nhat Hanh quote about understanding, that all we ever want is understanding. We have to apply that to ourselves too, and just accept wherever we are on this issue.